Marley's thirsty again. Okay, well, we're just gonna continue while he drinks. Welcome to the Happy Homestead. Today is January 3rd. It is our second day within the Three Rivers Pantry Challenge, the Three Rivers Challenge. And we're gonna have minestrone soup with salad as well as some pesto garlic bread. So last night we had roasted chicken with green beans and au gratin potatoes. Every time I make a roasted chicken, once we're done with dinner, we throw all of the remaining bones, tendons, carcass, whatever's left, right? Anything that is not technically edible goes back into my Instant pot. I add a splash of apple cider vinegar, maybe some bay leaf, some rosemary, parsley, onion, celery, carrot, and then fill it with fresh non-chlorinated water up until that max fill line. I set it on a delay, and I usually pressure cook it while we're sleeping in the middle of the night for our 2 hours on low pressure. And what we're left with once it's strained is the most beautiful, rich bone broth or chicken stock. Bone broth is really just something that is made from the bones, from the remains, and it is very nutrient and collagen rich. And that is going to be the base for our minestrone soup tonight. I also pulled out onion, celery, carrot. I had half a jar of leftover marinara from last week, and I'm going to put that in here too. I also took out a small jar of pesto from the freezer last night. We're going to use this on our bread, which we'll get going in just a bit. And I've got my kidney beans. I put my kidney beans in the Instant Pot. They are now starting to come up to pressure to cook. I cook all my beans at around 25 minutes of high pressure. And I think I also have some frozen zucchini from the garden in the freezer. So I need to go check that and get that also. But before we kind of start putting the soup together, because I need the beans to cook, I also got a pound of ground beef out. We're gonna put like a sausage in our minestrone, but I'm not gonna use ground pork. I'm gonna use ground beef, and we're gonna flavor it just as you would Italian sausage, and then we'll brown that and get the soup put together in time. So to our pound of ground beef, I'm just doing approximations here. Maybe about a teaspoon of garlic powder, teaspoon of dehydrated onion granules, maybe half a teaspoon of fennel seed, teaspoon of dried oregano, teaspoon of dried basil, and a teaspoon of dried parsley. And up to you, but a small pinch of crushed red pepper, splash of red wine vinegar, pepper, and a teaspoon of Redmond real salt. If you're pressed for time, this is something you could do in the morning to have the meat already seasoned and ready to go to cook at night. When you get home from work, you could always do it the night before, and you could even cook it ahead of time and have it ready for your soup too. I'm just gonna set the meat aside a little bit. I'm not gonna cook it yet, but if I were waiting a decent amount of time, I'd put it back in the fridge just like this, but I'm gonna set it to the side and we'll cook it in a little bit. So I'm just getting my salad stuff ready. This is a variety of greens that I actually picked from the backyard garden 5 days ago, maybe, so they need to be eaten. It's spinach, some baby kale, bok choy, and actually a little chickweed. Chickweed is a very prevalent weed in our garden. It is categorized as a weed, but it's also extremely nutritious. So I've got a lot of chickweed in here. We're gonna use that for our salad tonight. And I've got some leftover dressing. This is just a vinaigrette that I had made, again, 5 or 6 days ago. This is white wine vinegar, olive oil, a little Dijon mustard, garlic, dehydrated onion, salt, pepper, parsley, and a little bit of hot pepper jelly for just some flavor and a little heat. So this will be our dressing with our leftover greens from the backyard, and we've got some croutons that we'll add in there too. In success, I found some sliced zucchini in the freezer. I'm not going to be using all of this, but I'm going to take some of this out now and maybe just saute it on the stovetop with some onion, carrot, and celery, just to soften that up and give it some more flavor for our soup. So back in July of last year, during the Every Bit Counts challenge, and also I think during the bread challenge, I had to make a baguette. I think this was a baguette, and it was a total failure. It looked like a piece of cardboard. Look how skinny that is. But rather than throwing it away, what I think I did was butter this and then wrap it up to freeze it. And so I've got two of these halves. We're going to use one half tonight and the other half later in the pantry challenge. But, oh yeah, there is butter on here. Honestly, I don't know what to think. I think it's actually 2 pieces of bread with butter in the middle. This is cracks up. I was hoping to actually slather it with some of the homemade pesto, but we're gonna get this on a cookie sheet and get it warmed up, and maybe we just kind of spread the pesto on at the end. So the beef has been browned and cooked. I just took the garlic bread out and spread on some pesto. I think that's actually going to turn out really well. The beans have been cooked in the Instant Pot. I've drained them. My Instant Pot is now empty, so we're going to take our stock, our beef, our vegetables, our leftover marinara, and we're going to add in some ditalini pasta. This is organic whole wheat ditalini that I purchased from Azure Standard, and it's perfect for minestrone. So we're going to get everything in here. The pasta will need to cook. This is very much past the max fill line in the Instant Pot. I actually put it on slow cook instead of keep warm. So I have it on slow cook on the more setting. I'm just gonna add a little pasta in and put the lid on to hopefully heat that up and get the pasta cooking. But just remember with your Instant Pot, do not put it on any kind of pressure setting if you have gone beyond that max fill line.
And voila.
Bon appetit!